All right, welcome everybody once again. This has been long overdue, and I know a lot of people have made requests for us to do another cigar talk. So here we are at Historic Cigar Lounge once again, and I'd like to introduce Willy from Aurora.
How you doing, everybody? William Marante with Aurora Cigars. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Yes.
If you're not familiar with Willy, most people may not. This is one hell of a guy.
I didn't pay him to say that, but appreciate
Yeah,
that.
he really is. He is. And we can vouch for him.
Yes.
He's a character. He's funny. He's professional. I don't know what else I can say, but we're looking forward to this conversation.
Wow.
We're going to try and keep it, let's say, professional as much as possible.
Not gonna
but
happen.
we'll see as it goes. And CO, thank you for having us once again.
Anytime, guys. Anytime. Willy's like a transformer. You just got to tell him what to turn into, and he'll do it.
I don't know how I feel about that. Wow, transform. That's how we're starting this? Okay.
He's like, this is how we're starting.
Well, that's how we're doing this.
Oh, okay.
Man.
Don't start it.
No, but in a good way. I'm saying in a good way. You tell him, Willy, today's professional. He'll be on point. Today we're just having fun. He'll be wild.
He takes care of business, though.
Yeah, he does.
And that's the beauty of it. He's been a rep for, you can tell, how long have you been a rep for, Laura?
Over 12 years now.
Well, 12 years.
So in cigar years, that's like 120.
I like that one.
Now, here's the thing I always say, as a rep, you keep your hand on the pulse of the cigar industry. It's something that most people overlook, but a rep can pretty much tell you what is going on with the cigar, what's moving, what's not moving, what people like. I mean, there's a variety of things that a rep brings to the pulse of that brand and to the cigar community. And Willy, give us a little bit of history on Aurora Cigars, if you could.
So if anybody's not familiar with Aurora Cigars, obviously we are the oldest Dominican factory, make cigars since 1903. Today we're enjoying a 1903 Parejo Brazilian Maduro with the nice Arapiraque Maduro wrapper. Hope you guys are enjoying it.
Yes.
Yes,
The best way I can describe La Aurora to you guys and to everybody watching is knowledge, passion, creativity, and a desire for excellence that's displayed by every member of the La Aurora family from here in the United States and the 2,500 employees that run the factory in Santiago. When you think of La Aurora, obviously it is a pioneer and pillar standing on 122 years of tradition, cultivating tobacco in the Dominican Republic, the oldest Dominican factory.
The oldest.
So when you think in the forefront of growing, cultivating, there's so much history with La Aurora that's rooted not just into cigar, but into the city of Santiago itself, the Leon family. It's just, we could be here for hours.
I know.
We have a saying in the company, when you smoke a La Aurora cigar, you're not just smoking a cigar, you're smoking a piece of history, They're very, very particular on how they do their blends and the cigar they put out to the market.
I love.
Taste that chocolate on this.
When you think, obviously, La Aurora, obviously the first thing that comes to mind are preferidos. The 6 different color tubes that everybody's familiar with. When you see that platinum, that Cameroon wrapper, go all the way back to the beginning of history, 1903, that Preferido Cameroon was the first cigar ever designed and made by the company. So when you think back, 1903, the first wrapper they ever worked with was Cameroon.
Right.
And if you look around
1903.
if you look around a lot of Dominican companies and everything, they love their Cameroon.
Yes.
And why is that? Tell me the characteristic. You can fill in on that too, of the
I think
Cameroon.
it's just the balance of the sweetness, pockets of oils, Although in the United States we love full body, number one selling wrapper is still Connecticut, but we love a good full body cigar. On the island, you got to think about it. You're drinking at 8 a.m., you're beaching by 12. You live a very calm life. They like a more medium grade cigar to go with all kind of situations. Right. Like Manuel's favorite line, which is our master blender, we make cigars that everybody can enjoy at all times. There's no really, really full body cigar, like strong, double lejero kind of concept. Like all the cigars are enjoyable. Even though it's a dark Maduro wrapper, you can still enjoy it if you're the occasional smoker. And so we make cigars that are full flavor, not full body.
Right.
Because it's enjoyable by all.
Definitely agree with that too. I find that a lot. It's not that it's mild, but like you said, I like it's complex, but it's in a subtle way. So like you said, I can enjoy it any time of day. It's true.
Like people mistake this cigar with the Maduro Brazilian wrapper to be full body. And I'm like, not necessarily, because what happens is they mistake that strong tobacco nicotine taste you get off the Brazilian wrapper for strength. And it's really not.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think that happens a lot with Brazilian wrappers, is people pick up a lot of strength off it, off that flavor, and they confuse it for strength.
But a Padaca is not that it's strong. It's flavorful, but it's still not like a big blast of nicotine, so to speak. I like that about the Brazilian one.
See, if you want something full, then that's where andullo comes in.
What's it called?
Andullo.
Oh,
Andullo, yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with andullo, but obviously, so we're talking about La Aurora in history.
Tell us.
It's the oldest form of captivating tobacco in the Caribbean. If you think back to before Columbus discovered the New World and Taino Indians were running around, tobacco was grown, thrown into palm trees, dry age.
yes.
It became a stiff log, and they would just throw it on the shoulders and go village to village, culling it up and trading. We have found a way to decompress that log and get 80% long filler. But if I give you that andullo raw,
What are you talking about? Yes.
ooh, you want some cheese in your stomach, it's potent. But if you get that log, you smell these great molasses, these great oaks, and it's just tobacco in its natural form. Just put it in the yagos, which is a palm tree leaf, and squeeze dry over a series of 2 years before putting to age. But when that log stiffs up, man, the flavors you're getting off of that is second to none.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that back in the days, like this whole thing with the full body cigar started maybe 15 years ago, maybe a little bit more. But back in the days, we didn't have that whole thing of a full body cigar, because you were supposed to enjoy what you smoke and smoke 2, 3, 4 throughout the day or whatever, and just enjoy it, not have a, as some people call it, a buzz on your head about that had to do with your cigar.
I think it was 2011, 2010, when full body started really coming out.
Yeah.
When the first series of opuses were coming out, that they would come in the wooden chest and individual coffins and stuff like that. And I think Jaimes were just starting to unleash themselves in the market. And you had Espinosa with the Murcielago and stuff like that. Like, it was just like a few kick-ass Maduros that really started a trend that just...
Right around 2005, I remember one that came in an aluminum foil. What was that?
Ilusión?
I think it was Ilusión. It was
Yeah,
right around
Ilusión
2005.
MJ12.
Yep.
And
MJ12.
And I mean, the only place I saw that, it was in Miami. And man, you smoked that thing, even if you didn't inhale, that shit will fuck you up.
So what do you think started this craze for such a full-bodied cigar? If you had to say it, what is it?
My opinion, it's the region where when it started coming here, everybody wanted a buzz out of the cigar, and it was like, okay, well, I don't know if you're going.
I think it took the country different times to adapt to a full body, because like when you look at the history of tobacco being grown across the different regions of the United States, obviously they've been growing tobacco in Virginias for a long time.
Yes.
If you go back to New England and the north end of the country, you have obviously the Connecticut riverbanks where shade and broadleaf are grown, and then you have the Topper family up there that's been growing shade and doing tobacco for 125 plus years. So I think it's just, it migrated south, and I think up there, the weather got cold, you needed something a little heavier to get you through the winter months. And I just think it started trickling down by the time it got to Virginia.
And that was the strongest cigar.
You
that was
mixed
tobacco.
it with all that kind of other tobacco, and it trickled around.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously now you have such a craze that there's even a shortage, I think, in broadleaves here and there, like, post-COVID, supply, demand, like
It's gone up, yeah. I mean, I love a full body cigar. I'm not getting me wrong, because I find, because of my palate, growing up with a lot of spices and a lot of ingredients made in the food that I ate. I like hot sauce. I'm not saying I like a hot sauce cigar, but I was able to recognize more full-bodied cigars because of what I remembered as a kid growing up and the different spices that my mom used. So I kind of attached to it. But don't get me wrong, of course, we like mild. Like you said, you know, we all are daily smokers, and we smoke, you know, from the morning all the way to the evening. It all depends on our timing. But, you know, a time and place for everything.
Yes.
You know.
It's funny you say that because it's literally taken me since 2013. I've been in the game, 2012. Probably about 2 years ago. Finally got that upgrade from Connecticut's into sun-growns and Maduros. I mean, old school Cuban, you know, they're light cigars and stuff like that.
Yes.
But he's adapted his palate where he's like, all right, I can smoke anything now. It all depends. What you got in the car? And
Yeah.
No. What I got in the car? What you want?
And I noticed that we talk about this all the time, pairing different things with the cigar. What do you find that you pair? I mean, we're all drinking water right now, and you know, that's something I think we always go back to, you know, starting off with the water, just to get all the flavor of the tobacco.
Well, not only
from the
that, but
cigar.
it's early.
We're filming it early. It's not early, but it's early for us. Yeah,
Dry January.
and it's
Not even
January.
12
Right?
yet. Jeez.
Was it dry January? Well, that's
man.
another story, another topic.
It all depends. Different places, different people. Obviously, you can never go wrong with a soda. You can never go wrong with a coffee. Depending on the cigar, you know, obviously, you can do a nice bourbon. You can do a nice cab.
Yeah.
It all depends the time of the day and what you're having. I mean,
True.
the only one thing I've never understood people pair with cigars, and I'll never understand, is these sour beers and bitters like that. Like, how? Like, how does that not kill your palate?
You know, some people like the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
I like a balance, but yeah, like you're saying, when you're going with the I still can't get to that yet. I haven't. I'm with you on that one, you know.
Have you guys ever tried coconut water?
Yeah.
I don't like coconut.
You don't like coconut?
I'm a bad Caribbean.
Yeah. Being from the Caribbean,
I
coconut
like
water.
coquito. But I just don't like coconut water itself. Like, just,
Maduro, explain that to me. He likes coquito, but he don't like coconut water.
I got one better for you. My dad will eat meatloaf. He'll eat a hamburger. He won't eat picadillo.
Holy shit. That's a good one.
Everything for everybody. Everything for everybody.
That's a good one. Yeah. I guess that gene was
can't
passed
imagine.
Yeah, I
down.
mean, it's handed down, you know.
Yeah.